Hello, everybody. I'm Peter the Book Lover, and this is Movie Talk Episode 19. This is a series that I've created where I talk about the movies that I like three at a time. And I've got a great episode right here talking about the Raiders of the Lost Ark trilogy. Let's talk about them. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter the Book Lover, and I like to watch a lot of movies. I also like to read a lot of books. I have a channel to where I talk about movies and books, and in these videos I like to talk about movies that I've seen recently, three at a time. And in this episode I've got a trilogy of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So let's talk about them. But before I get into the movies, I want to thank everybody for being here. You're really awesome for giving me your time. Thank you so much for being here. I love you for being here. Thank you. Okay, let's just get into it. Now, the first movie is from 1981, directed by Steven Spielberg, and this is Raiders of the Lost Ark. What this movie is about is an archaeologist that gets set on a quest to seek the Ark of the Lost Covenant, which is a chest to where they put the Ten Commandments in. And it's very biblical. It's a biblical item. They actually talk about it in the Bible. And he goes on a quest to get this ark. And he faces a lot of adventure on this quest to get this ark. And that's pretty much the description of what this movie is about. Now, let me give you the cast of this movie, and then I will tell you what I think of this movie. Now, Indiana Jones is played by Harrison Ford. We know Harrison Ford also is Han Solo in the Star Wars movies. He's also in American Graffiti. He's also plays the president in Air Force One. Plus there's several other movies he's been in. He's a very great actor. I really think he's fantastic. Next up we have Marion, played by Karen Allen. And she is in a couple other movies that I really enjoy. Starman is one of them. We got Belloc, played by Paul Freeman. I do not know him in other movies. We've got Sala, played by John Rhys Davies, and he also plays Treebeard and Gimby in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He's also in a show called Sliders that I remember watching. And he's a pretty interesting actor. I like his performance in this movie. We got Talt, which is played by Ronald Lacey. I've never seen him in other movies. Then we got Marcus Brody, played by Denholm Elliott. The only movie that I really know him from is this. And then we got Satibo, played by Alfred Molina. Now, Alfred Molina actually plays Doc Ock in the Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. I thought he did a fantastic job as being Doc Ock, and that's pretty much the cast of this movie. Now let me tell you what I think of this movie. Now, the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to cover several different points of this movie, and I think this is the best way for me to cover these movies. Now, the intro. The way this movie starts off is Harrison Ford gets chased by this big concrete ball. And the opening scene to this movie is just plain amazing. I mean, there's more to it than that, but it winds up being this big ball that chases him. Now, when you first see this movie, you might say to himself, why not just go forward and let this ball continue on, and then you'd be safe? Because if he didn't run, he would have been stuck in this cavern that he was in. So it's a good thing he ran from this ball and he gets away from this ball, which is pretty cool. Then it sets up the quest. And then not long after, we get this bar fight. And this bar fight is amazing. It's an exciting bar fight that I really enjoy watching. It's very entertaining. And then not long after that, they travel. I'm not going to tell you why they travel, but Karen Allen and Indiana Jones, Marion and Indiana Jones, they travel to another country, And not long after being in this new country, there's this other chase scene. Now, this chase scene is just as entertaining as that bars fight. And it's a great chase scene. They're running from all these people chasing after them, and it's fantastic. Some of the scenes in this chase scene are just plain amazing. I really love it. Then, not much long after that, they have this Staff of Ra, the Staff of Ra scene, which is a pretty amazing scene. This is a scene where he's in a room and he's got the staff, and a light hits the staff, and it lights up this secret spot, and it's amazing. The music in this scene is really incredible. I really love this scene, and it's a really magical scene. It's very cool, very cool. And not long after that, we have this scene in a snake pit. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that happen in the snake pit, but it's incredible. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about, the snake pit. It's incredible. I love the snake pit. I love the way how they get out of the snake pit. It's just incredible. And then after that, we have fights by a plane. And man, there's this amazing fight scene by a plane that's just incredible. At the same time, there's a bunch of other action that happens, but this scene with the fights by the plane is just amazing. It's an incredible action scene. You just gotta love it. It is. And then this is followed by fights on trucks. And my lord, this scene has so much adventure in it and action in it. It's very impressive, man. Anybody that's seen this movie will know about the fights on the trucks because it's really memorable. Some of the things that happen in it are just incredible. And then we have this scene to where there's romance on a boat. It's a very comical scene. There's other things, of course, that go with it, but there's this romantic scene on the boat, and it's a really memorable romantic scene. I really love it. It's fantastic. And then not long after that, we have this awesome finale. And the finale to this movie is just incredible. Anybody that's seen this movie will know this scene that happens at the end is just incredible. There's like this death scene that just blows you away. And I just got to say, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. The music is incredible. John Williams does the music for this movie, and he does an amazing job. All these scenes are just amazing, and I really love this movie. It's one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now let's go to the next one. The Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dooms. This movie came out in 1984, directed by Steven Spielberg again. And the return of Indiana Jones is in this movie. Plus, we have a new character, Willie, played by Kate Capshaw. I know her from this movie called The Quick and the Dead, I believe it is, in a Western movie. And I really don't know her from much else. Next, we have a character called Short Round, played by Kei Hoi Wan, I think. Kei Hoi Wan. And this is also an actor this actor also plays in a movie called Goonies. Then we got Mola Ram, played by Amish Puri, and this is the villain of the movie. And we got Captain Blambert, played by Philip Stone. Now this guy is actually in the movie The Shining, and he does a great performance in this as a British captain, and it's pretty interesting. Okay, so let me explain what happens in this movie. This has a lot of great scenes as well. At the beginning of this movie, the intro is a fight for the antidote. She's trying to get a diamond, he's trying to get an antidote. And it's an incredible action scene, a lot of fun, really entertaining. Then after that, we got the intro to Short Round, and at the same time, not long afterwards, we got a cameo by Dan Aykroyd. Now, a lot of people didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice this for the longest time, but Dan Aykroyd makes a cameo appearance in this movie. Now, here we've got next is an action scene on an airplane. And man, it is just a wonderful action scene on this airplane. And the way they escape the danger that they're in is just incredible. It's amazing on how they escape this, and it's just amazing. Really great action adventure. Then they actually meet this village, and this village has lost their children. And to get the children back, they've got to find the sacred stone. So they get sent on this quest for a stone. And then we have this meal at Pankot Palace. Now, this meal is an amazing scene. The things that they get served in this meal is just very entertaining. Snake surprise, chilled monkey brains. It's just incredible, man. I really love the scene to where they have this meal and the reaction that they have when they see what they get to eat. Now, the next scene is an insect scene. There's more to it. There's some action in this insect scene, but there's this insect scene with a lot of bugs, all kinds of bugs, big bugs, and a whole cavern that's filled with bugs, and it's fantastic. And then we see the thuggy ceremony scenes, and that's where we see where these stones are. And this ceremony scene has one of these very impressive scenes to it. Kali Ma, Kali Ma. And if anybody that's seen this movie will know what I'm imitating, and it's fantastic. Now, the eighth thing in this movie is something that I don't want to give away, but there's the eighth thing that happens in this movie is another part, and it's got this twist I don't want to tell you. I don't want to give it, it's kind of a spoiler. I don't want to spoiler it, but the eighth part of this movie is incredible. I can't tell you what it is, though, because it's in a spoiler. And then after that, we've got fighting in the mines. And there's this amazing fight scene in the mines that's just incredible. It's really cool, and the way the fight ends is just one of my favorite scenes. It's stayed with me for the longest time. I love this fight scene. It's incredible. And then we have a minecart chase scene, and that is very much like riding on a roller coaster. And it's incredible. I mean, I've always liked riding on roller coasters, and it's like being on a roller coaster when you watch this scene. It's fantastic, and it's just great. I mean, there's a lot that happens that I don't want to give too many details of, but it's amazing. And then we have a scene on a bridge, and it's like the finale of the bridge, but it's just incredible of what happens on this bridge. I really enjoy the end scene of this. It is great. And then it ends with a romantic thing at the end, which I really liked as well. And that's pretty much what happens in this movie. And I gotta say, I really love this movie. I live with somebody that doesn't like this movie at all, but I think this movie is fantastic. The music by John Williams is amazing, and I really enjoy this movie a lot. Temple of Doom is a movie that I highly recommend. Check it out. Okay, and now we got the last movie that I'm going to talk about. This one came out in 1989, directed by Steven Spielberg again, and this is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And John Williams does the music again, and Indiana Jones returns to this movie. Salah, played by John Rhys Davies, returns, and we got Marcus Brody returning. Denholm Elliott is the actor that plays him, and they all return. Plus, we have Henry Jones, played by Sean Connery. Now, Sean Connery is James Bond. That's what I know him from, and he's also in a couple other things, but my favorite thing by Sean Connery is when he played James Bond. He did a great job playing James Bond. We got Elsa, played by Alison Doty, and I've never seen her in any other movies, but she does a fantastic job being the female lead. We got Walter Donovan, played by Julian Glover. He looks familiar to me, but I really do not know him from other movies. Although he does look familiar to me. And then we have young Indy, played by River Phoenix. And we know him as Joaquin Phoenix's brother. He's also, I believe, in the movie Stand By Me, where they discover the body. I'm not sure about that, but River Phoenix plays a young Indiana Jones. And now let me tell you what this movie is about. Okay, this movie starts off with Indiana Jones being a young child. He's in the Boy Scouts, and they go after this item. And there's a really cool action scene on a circus train, and it's pretty cool. Now, it's not my favorite action scene of this series, but it was still an enjoyable scene, especially when there's a point to when they get to the lion. There's a scene where they deal with the lion, and you also get to see why he is afraid of snakes, which is kind of cool. Then they set up the quest for the Holy Grail. That's not much of a scene. There's no action there. Then we've got the scene to where they go in underground tombs and there's a lot of rats. And it's pretty cool. It's still not as impressive as the other Indiana Jones movies, but at the same time, it's a kind of cool scene. Rats creep me out, so I believe the rats in Rambo was actually more impressive than these rats, but still, it's pretty interesting. Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then they get into this boat chase, which is decent, not too bad. And then after that, we run into some Nazis, and we actually run into Indiana Jones's father, played by Sean Connery. And there's some pretty good comedy here. Not really awesome action, but it's pretty cool on how they meet and how you get introduced to his father and how you see there's Nazis. It's pretty cool. And then after this, we've got some comedy with Marcus Brody and Sala. And then we've got a motorcycle chase scene that was pretty cool. An interesting thing after that, soon after, is we actually meet Adolf Hitler. And he actually runs into Indiana Jones and signs a book of his, which was pretty cool. Then we have a blimp scene, which is one of my favorites. I really like that scene on the blimp. And there's some things that happen after they're on the blimp. I really don't want to give away too many spoilers, but they're on a blimp and then they escape. And the way they escape is pretty cool. And there's a couple of things that happen after that. There's a scene to where Sean Connery, Harrison Ford's father, Indy's father, actually does something that's pretty smart. I don't like it that much. It's not my favorite thing, but he does something that helps them escape. I wish he, I mean, they had to do it, but it's like one of my least favorite things. I don't like animal abuse. I gotta say, it's a little bit of animal abuse, and I really don't dig that. Then we've got the tank chase scene, which is one of the best parts of this movie. And then we have the finale, and the finale is pretty cool. There are some things that happen in the finale that are really interesting and cool and enjoyable. I have a lot of fun with that. Now, throughout this whole movie, this one, it has the most amount of comedy. Really, there is quite a bit of comedy, and it's pretty enjoyable. There's comedy throughout this whole thing, more so than in the other movies. So, if you like comedy, you might find this movie kind of funny. Yeah, and it's actually comedy that's pretty good. I got a good kick out of the comedy in this movie. Now, one thing I got to say about all these movies is the music by John Williams is incredible. I got to say, one of the best things of these movies is the music. And that's about it. That's my opinion. Now, I like these in the order that they came out. My favorite is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's my favorite one. My second favorite is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And my third favorite is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Just because Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is not my favorite, it's still a great movie, and I really enjoy it. I still highly recommend that you see that. Okay, and that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed me talking about these movies. I really loved watching these movies, and I loved putting this list together. I hope that you like the new way that I'm going to do this. I think this is an interesting way to talk about the movies. I hope that I didn't give anything away. This way, if you haven't seen this movie, I told you a lot of the things that happen in this movie trying not to give away too much because I don't want to do no spoilers. But let me know in the comments what you think of this, the way that I'm doing these videos. I would really appreciate your feedback. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Every like is a gem to me, and I really appreciate every single one. They all mean a lot to me. And if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate if you gave me your subscription. I will make it up to you by constantly putting out new content, and I'm working on making things better. And that's about it. I want to thank you for stopping by. I am Peter the Book Lover, and I hope I will see you in the next video.